Welcome back to another Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series as well as the Umbani Chronicles. And I am joined once again by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
Jordan is a graphic artist and illustrator. He is the creator of Growing in the Garden, Eve of Insurrection, Eve of Reclamation, and he has also done the illustrations for the Ancient Illumination graphic novel as well as the Umbani Chronicles comics. So there will be links in the description of this podcast to our websites in case you're interested in our creative endeavors. And after a long time, we are finally back with the Iskari cast. And to kind of catch up on Nowhere Behind, we're going to talk season 2 of Halo, streaming right now on Paramount Plus, but we're going to go through the first half initially. So only episodes 1 through 4. If you cool, I'm just going to go through a breakdown of the first 4 episodes, and then we can just freestyle it after that. Episode 1, we see Master Chief basically on a hospital bed. It's assumed he's dying. Spoiler alert for everybody if you haven't watched season 1 and then begun to catch up on season 2, which is already have all 8 episodes out. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about this. Master Chief is separated from Cortana after the battle at the end of season 1. Silver Team is sent to help to evacuate civilians from some place called Sanctuary. We learned that all of Team Silver has removed their emotion governing chip or whatever. That's an interesting thing. And Bravo Team, who has been sent to Sanctuary to set up comms array, has disappeared. And they see some fog. Master, this is one of the best scenes to me. Master Chief getting down with the elites that suddenly appear. The funniest part, though, me as a Marine, seeing this when he comes up upon Bravo Team, and they immediately see him as a threat because you can't really tell who's approaching. They start shooting at him. They miss every shot, and they come out, and Master Chief is looking at them, and lady goes, "We're communications," and he's like, "I can tell by your aim."
One of the bars that Master Chief dropped during the show.
Yeah, that was hilarious to me on multiple levels because I was in the Marine Corps. Number 2, I was also in communications, so. Rifleman is every Marine's first MOS, but it's not really my main MOS. So it was hilarious that he called them out because they couldn't hit nothing. So yeah, they fight through that, and him and Corporal Perez are the lone survivors from fighting these elites. But that was a dope fight scene to me.
Yes, that was
him going head up with a bunch of the elites. Before they get to the fight, though, a shaman-like woman warns him about seeing his death, and these people are refusing to evacuate from the planet, even though they know that the Covenant's about to glass this planet. Enter Akerson, which I thought was a new character. Offline, Andrea and I were chatting about it, and she thought that he had killed himself in season 1. I don't recall that. Do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I've seen him in other different things. So I was like, oh, this guy. I remember him from like Teen Titans.
Yeah, and she had referenced another show, I think the originals too, that actor was also in. So she was calling him Klaus, and I was like,
that's who Klaus was from the originals?
So they come back from there, and Silver Team is effectively grounded because this new Akerson dude is questioning their combat readiness. Then we flip to Soren. We see some weird pirate auction of people that they've found throughout the colonies, and they're selling them or auctioning them off to people on this asteroid belt. Chief tries to explain to Akerson that the Covenant have bigger plans. He doesn't sound to believe him. Akerson questions his story because he's like, if there were this many elites, like, how did y'all two survive? Like, you tell me you killed them all? Like, we know you bad.
He's Master Chief. Of course he killed them all. What does it mean? He's not just no regular Spartan, but okay. Out of pocket.
So Akerson obviously is questioning the validity of his story, and we have another revelation about this later that I'm going to get to. They flash back to the asteroid belt. Soren obviously walks into a trap that the person that was auctioned off was leading him so he can get captured as a unauthorized absence from the military from the Spartan program. So he gets taken back. Quan is still being Quan. We had these discussions about season 1 with Quan being annoying.
Wasn't
My
she
thing
being
was,
hunted? Wasn't she
why
being?
is he telling ghost stories to the little boy? Like he's already got
Let's
enough.
not get there. Let's slow down how we introduce the Quan. Let's talk about how she's. So there was a guy. He noticed he had a tracker in her right. Like
Yeah,
somebody.
that comes later. That's later though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Chief goes on a walkabout and runs into his former commander for the UNSC. I forget her name, but basically she tries to make him a spy for her, and though she's kind of still an only officer, but not, or at least she's making it seem like she has some pull, and asks Chief to be a spy for her, basically. And then Chief continues his walkabout through the city. And I don't know how else to explain it. He goes in and we see an OnlyFans version of Cortana. Like, wouldn't that like a little
Even some
virtual?
like virtual like red light district. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This is what we
Yeah, he
doing,
goes and
Chief?
sits down and puts in. There's some AI that's made to look like Cortana. He sits
Yeah.
down in the chair and but except for instead of dancing in like a stripper like manner, he's like basically just asking it questions and talking to it as if it's still Cortana, though we know he's been separated from Cortana. So this might be a way of him trying to cope. Then there's a reveal of a huge Covenant fleet somewhere in space that obviously is nearby. We find Halsey trapped in some weird VR, some virtual reality, where Halsey's being made to have tea time with some girl that's passes out or dies after a while. And so then later Chief confronts Akerson, and we find out that Perez didn't back his story up because he's like, yo, we got witnesses. Well, one witness that was there. And Akerson tells him about, well, her report didn't reflect any of what you saw. So what you talking about?
Making this man seem like he's crazy. Like
And here's the part that you were referring to. Quan revolts and cuts out the tracker after she basically told dude to F off, like, I'm not gonna work for you, I'm not doing nothing. And she runs off and they start fighting. And she goes down like a weird garbage chute, but because they have the tracker on her, they'll follow her wherever she is. She kills her attackers, cuts out the little
Space's guy. He gets space.
Yeah,
I
Space's
want you guys
dude,
space.
and then cuts her tracker out of her ear. Riz seeks out some therapy from a friend. We find Blind Lewis, this character who I guess was a failed Spartan or didn't make it.
I also call him Tobias Wells.
Yeah, Tobias. I was waiting on that line. Negroes always turn out. If he'd have said that, I'd have been mad. Chief goes rogue, of course, because he wants to search for Cobalt team, and it's unauthorized. Chief goes, and then Kai questions him. Surprisingly, Kai questions him in front of the team, and they go anyway. He just kind of rebuffs her questions. And then Chief is basically correct because we see Marines getting killed by elites. Makes it out alive, and he knows that they got to be on reach. Like they find a message out there, and that's like the first 2 episodes basically. But it finishes that he finally reveals to Silver Team that the operation that they're on in episode 3, that it's unauthorized. They're off the books. And they go to the communications relay where they find a message from the Covenant to the people that later on, I think Corporal Perez is able to translate. And then Chasers. I don't know if you know about Chasers.
No, I don't know what that is.
Basically, in the military, when someone goes UA for the Navy and the Marines, unauthorized absence, I believe it's AWOL for the Army.
Okay.
They'll have military personnel that'll go chase those people and bring them back.
Do you have an idea for sidebar? Do you have a comic book or story idea related to that?
I mean, I could.
You go with sidebar. Continue.
Yeah. So yeah, they have this group of UNSC Marines that show up, and they're like, "Yo, we're taking you in," and Chief basically punched them. No, we're not doing none of that. I'm gonna go through this vault and continue my investigation, and just blows them off until I think it's Vanek and one of the other members of Team Silver talk Chief down, and they agree to give themselves up and go back. Um, Keys dresses them down. Look, y'all basically calls Master Chief crazy and says, y'all are messing up. And now Kai and Vanek and Riz are all looking confused as,
Mhm.
wait, so none of this is true? Because basically there's no proof. Chief lacks evidence to support his theory or his hunch right now. Because that's, Keys calls
Yeah.
him out like, you had a hunch. That's all you got.
Just say it.
You don't have no evidence. Uh, Then we go back to the pirates, and Soren's wife knows something is wrong, so she's running around trying to figure out what happened. And Quan jumps out of the shadows and grabs her and lets her know that she's been betrayed.
How did she know this?
Huh? How does she know?
How did Quan know?
I mean, she's in the walls now. She's listening and hiding and running around. So I'm assuming she's just doing her stealth thing at this moment and gathering information as she.
Yeah. And it should have been shown. I think, did they even show her doing that kind of reconnaissance and research? Or was
No.
it very just? I recall it was very like this happened off screen, so we have to make this up for season.
Yeah, no, I think that was off camera because you don't even know it's Quan until you
Yeah, I
kind of
remember
know because
that.
she's kind of been hanging around the family. She was the one that Master Chief dropped her off with, dropped her off with that family.
Yep,
So
he
Soren
did.
and his kid and wife. So yeah, so Quan tells her, yo, yeah, your boy, his top lieutenants of Soren's, they ratted you out, and Soren's been captured, and you're next. Basically, he's gone and you next because the head of the snake is gone. They think you're vulnerable. Um, then Akerson, I guess, orders Master Chief to go for a psyche eval, and they send him, even without his armor, they send him with these two regular dudes. Like, we're going to escort you to get this psyche eval. Of course, he pops off. It knocks both of them out in the elevator
Boom, boom.
real quick, and he leaves. Riz goes and gets some holistic healing from Blind Lewis and his partner. Um, And then Kai surprised. She's been kind of annoying this season, really. She has,
Mhm.
I thought she had Master Chief's back, but then she basically tries to replace Master Chief to get back into action so they cannot be
Yeah.
grounded. So she pleads to Akerson after he questions her, basically because of a discussion they had prior. Like, you told me Chief was straight and he was just needed some time, and now he's straight crazy.
Straight off rails. It's
I
off
don't
the
know if I
rails.
could trust any of y'all. And she's like, I could lead them until he's ready to come back. And he's like, you may have to face the reality that he'll never be ready to come back to service. Uh, so Soren's wife, Lyra, I think is her name, gives herself up in order, hoping that Quan can escape with their son Kessler. And I guess that's going to be her trade-off. If
Mhm,
somebody got to die, maybe my boy can get off and
mhm.
go free. Um, then later on, we find out all that stuff with Master Chief. Like, his suspicions are slowly being confirmed. He
Yep.
thought Team Cobalt was missing. They were on some clandestine mission, and we find out here not because they tell us, but Keys is examining the bodies of Cobalt, and he then presses Akerson about it, and Akerson basically lets him know. They don't tell us exactly what's happening because we've seen scenes
Yeah.
where Cortana is talking to Akerson. We find out he has the talisman that they found, and he has Cortana, and she's running calculations, but they don't specify
Yep.
what those calculations are. She's basically, it's like a 90% chance that this is going to happen. We find out later it's that, number one, the Covenant. Now, this makes me think weird about Akerson because the Covenant are coming, and now we find out that it's a 90% chance, based something close to that Reach will fall, which has become like their new homeworld for
Yep.
humans. Uh, and then Chief goes back again to visit the former commander of Oni, and he gets up to leave, and she like does, I don't know if she did a little signal or something, but everybody in the bar where they're the place that they met ends up being Oni agents. Like, and they were gonna, I don't know what they thought they was gonna do.
can't take them.
I mean, it was more of them, but you seen what happened to the two dudes in the elevator. Like, y'all, it would be one thing if it were a bunch of other like Spartans or something.
Oh no, that would have been a better fight. Oh, that would have been nice. We got that. But continue.
Yeah, but they come to a peace and I guess a gentle understanding, and Chief walks away without getting into another kerfuffle. Akerson visits Halsey in the VR, and now that Lyra is captured by the pirate crew, she's trying to convince him that there's no treasure. But I also think she's trying to get them to fight each other.
Oh.
I think it's kind of a mind play of them trying to. Well, if there's no treasure, you didn't had us do all this dirt with the expectation that there's going to be a reward at the end. Now she's telling us when her husband's gone, her son's out somewhere, and we have her dead to rights, and she's still telling us there's no treasure, then there might not be any treasure. Perhaps they're going to start infighting against each other. Quan eventually she Assassin's Creed's her way in and rescues her before she's about to get spaced. Mm-hmm. Now they have Soren's ship, so
yeah,
they try and go rescue him. Akerson, this was kind of a weird moment in the first 4 episodes. Akerson goes to his father. I guess that was and he's
got dementia.
He's what?
Or do you have dementia, Alzheimer's?
He's got dementia, Alzheimer's, or something. So he keeps forgetting things. He doesn't realize his daughter and wife are dead because he remembers some things and then makes mention of, seeing them again. And Akerson has to remind him that, like, they gone. You're not going to see them again. Chief finally catches up to Perez again in church. I think this is after he'd already went to her apartment first time and got introduced to the family. And I think the only reason Mom's let him in because she thought her and Chief were dating.
Didn't she say that's a big man? Didn't she call him like a tall man or big man?
Yeah. So he finds her in the church, and then in this third episode, the Covenant attacks, and then they kind of cut it off there. And I think you see a moment at the end where you see Vanek on like a rooftop with some pigeons, looking out over the landscape and seeing stuff starting to blow up.
Yeah, the pigeons.
And now we're into episode 4, where Chief and Perez try to make their way back to FleetCom, and on the way they pass by where her apartment was and find it destroyed, and her your family gone. I don't know what you do, but we got to roll. And he tries to basically he stops her from going into the burning buildings and takes her away. And then there's the confrontation with Akerson and Halsey in the VR, and at the end of it, when she basically checks him because he's basically being snotty to her, and in response, she's kind of snotty to him and realizes who the clone is that keeps dying as she's there is actually like a replica of his little sister that passed. And when he's kind of shaken up, when she tells him about her daughter not making it through the Spartan program, or his sister, not making it all the way through, and that's why she died, he brings in Soren. And as we know, Soren wants to kill Halsey. That was the whole reason he fell for the trap, because he thought he was being led to a place that had Halsey's body in cryo containment, and that's why he fell for the ruse for the dude at the auction in the first episode. But they end up kind of talking things out instead of him killing her. I don't know why. Right. But he does. So after the attack, after they kind of talk it out, then they have to find their way out of this secret prison, black facility, basically. And the VR walls have been destroyed because the powers went out.
This is the bombardment from the Covenant showing up.
Yeah, so they have to go away, and they find their way out, and they're of course arguing back and forth because Halsey is basically making it seem like, oh, I let you escape. That was the reason. That was all planned. And Soren's like, no, you're not going to make my greatness some part of your achievement. No, you had no part in making me. I escaped. I did that. And she's like, no. She's like, why was security so light? You think it was supposed to be like that? You were able to just waltz out of our facility? Nah. So then that kind of stuck in his craw because that's obviously on his mind the whole way. Then finally, Master Chief and Perez make it back to UNSC approaching their headquarters. They find some Marines. We find Riz actually leading them in some attack.
Mhm.
And my boy
Well,
Blindwood,
look.
Negroes
The
always
best
start
part.
fighting when they
The
can't
best
see.
part.
Yeah,
Blind Lewis shows
yeah.
up. He ready to go.
I think it's because his lover was killed that he ends up making his sacrifice. He picks up a vest full of grenades and throws
And he,
himself at a
and he
tank
had
and
that
blows it
grenade
up.
launcher. He had that. What was killing me is when they first show him when they're first kind of like responding to the Covenant, and he picks up that grenade launcher. I was like,
Yeah,
yo, I'm like,
like he's got a
I
weapon.
was
He's
because
firing it.
I thought with like him being my initial reaction to that whole situation was like, well, he kind of had because he's part of the Spartan program. I know he failed, but I thought that he would have some form of hyper
You
sensitivity.
thought he was like Daredevil or
Yes,
Kingston.
yeah. So I thought he was like the Daredevil of Spartans, and he could just be like echolocating and like shooting grenade launcher. And then that all came crashing down. And you're like, nah, he's just a normal dude. I'm like, wow, they doing a lot here with this blind guy shooting a grenade launcher. But
Yeah,
he was doing his best. He's doing the best he could.
he was doing the best he could. He was just kind of, it was worrisome though. I mean, my boy just turned around shooting guns
He
and
said, boop, boop. I'm like, what?
like, like, how do you know where the stuff is coming from, bro? What you doing? And he ended up sacrificing himself, and I think that really hit Riz hard because
Yeah,
she had finally made legitimate friends outside of a military context. Like those, she had come over for dinner. She was getting some
yeah.
type of holistic healing and therapy, kind of from them that wasn't being given to her uh, from her military folk.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big part of her kind of growth. And this is all after she cut off the emotional inhibitor
Yep.
so she could feel normal emotions. So I'm betting that probably hit pretty hard. Um, Halsey and Soren find the chamber somehow with Cortana in it, right in time for McKee, the blessed one, to show up with some elites. And he had like one Marine, like, didn't he have him like in a chokehold, just holding him up by his neck and snap his neck, toss him against the wall?
Yeah.
So she takes Cortana and she takes the keystone there, and then Soren, I guess, picked up a grenade, chucks a grenade, and him and Halsey can escape. Team Silver finally reunites with the Marines at the headquarters. Admiral Keyes is there. He makes a big speech.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be down, so he's gonna fight. And Master Chief tells him, no, you're not gonna fight. But before that, it was kind of cool. He made Master Chief like a symbol. Like he had this big rousing speech, but then he called Master Chief up to be recognized against everything that should have been. He's totally out of his armor, no helmet, no nothing. He basically like introduces him like, look, this is the dude y'all have been following and immortalizing the entire time. He's here with us in regular clothes. He's still
He's just one of us.
yeah,
He's
and
just one of us.
he lets them know that they're about to die. Like this is probably going to be a suicide mission, but we're going to keep fighting because Akerson is a punk and he left before he left.
Dipped.
He left. He dipped
With kind.
quick. And then my notes say Key's last stand. He realizes, and you know, at the fuel, he's trying to fuel the civilian ship, the last transport to leave, and he's surrounded by jackals and other Covenant attackers. And with the fuel lines open, my boy lights up a pipe. Like,
can I take a smoke? Like, really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, blows himself up. Yeah, and the rest of Team Silver, they keep fighting. I thought this was a cool moment where the elites came in and they couldn't see them. Mm-hmm. And then I think Master Chief orders them like to shoot a flare or something over there, and it illuminates the background so you can see the silhouettes barreling in towards them. They all start fighting, kind of like a traditional corridor fight almost, but it's on this long like bridge, and they're getting down. Master Chief decides to go head up with the top elite, and one of the other elites shoot Master Chief in the back, and of course the dude gets mad like, no, this was a one-on-one. We supposed to go head up. He was giving me that face. I think he shoots him. Didn't the other elite?
Yeah, he got Master Chief gets shot in the chest. Didn't he like fly back?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the other elite though. The one that he was fighting actually kills the elite that shot him. mid fight because he was giving me a fair one. You're not, this between two alphas. You got to give me that one on one. I didn't ask you. I didn't need your help with this.
Get out my face.
Yeah, and then we see the needler weapon,
Oh,
classic, and picks up one of the rounds, I guess, from a needler, and then stabs Vanek in the chest with it, and it explodes. And the
boom.
episode, the end of the first half of the season ends with Vanek's dead eyes staring out of the hole of a building, and I was really mad about that part
I
because I
was
was like,
too.
two prominent black characters gone in the span of like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You could, of all the people you could have killed these 2 episodes, we ain't got but a few, and now you're gonna kill them two
It
off, and
killed
they're
a
pretty
lot. It killed a
prominent ones.
lot of
Like
black characters actually.
Key, I'm saying, but Keys
Keys is
is
important.
a prominent character, an admiral high up in the infrastructure, and then you got Vanek as one of Team Silver.
It's okay. You're not alone. I was frustrated too. I was like, for the same exact reason. I was like, come on, y'all really doing this?
Lots of action though in these 4 episodes that I liked. I don't know as if I like the direction of the story. I don't know if I like McKee just magically being
showing up.
because that's why and that's kind of, I mean, I guess it makes sense because it gives credence to Kai not having as much confidence in Chief because she was the one, I believe, at the end of season 1 that shot McKee. So if that's the case and she thinks McKee is dead, and Chief saying on the mountain that I saw McKee, that's why she's confused. Like, nah, dude, not snipe that. That's a wrap on that. So that kind of makes sense, but it was still kind of like you bringing this back up, like. So she's still in the mix, obviously. How do you feel about her as a villain or a sub villain?
Do not fully understand her motivations as a character. She doesn't. I don't relate to her
Yeah,
goal. If I can't identify her goal, so I'm like,
yeah,
what is she doing? Like, I felt like she was after we saw her in season 1. I was like, I felt like her villain arc or whatever was like she felt more like a villain. But
yeah,
in this series, I don't know. She didn't in these first when she's reintroduced, she doesn't really feel like that she's really the threat.
yeah.
It's
No, I mean,
not
she is
it's
something
not
because she
she is
keeps.
some threat, but I mean, it's not like she's the big bad or she's like really as a villain pushing the story.
Yeah,
That's
but
how
she's got telekinesis. You kind of because remember, Master Chief was about to die when
Wait,
it's finally revealed
I
she's
forgot
alive.
about that.
Yeah, dude is about to off Master Chief's head with the plasma sword, and she holds out the hand and stops him from completing that somehow.
I forgot about
Like she legit like used the force like no. And then she looks at Master Chief like you should have come with me. You know you like the cheeks, and then
that.
I guess that's a rationale. Like we shared something. Me and you had something, and you went back to your. Like I guess you want him to switch sides.
He's like, you should have joined the humans. You should have joined your people. We could have been on Reach.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the most disappointing thing. But I liked a lot of the action in the first half of the season. I know you. I think you watched the rest of the episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have not. Yet.
Oh,
I haven't watched 5 through 8. So
okay.
do that. But the first half was kind of like it's a lot to like, and it's a lot to. It's like a mixed bag. It's too much of a mix. It is like action is cool. I like the Halo moments. The
That
real
yes, but for me personally, it's not a so like when we get to the Halo moments, like episode 1 and I think 4,
yeah.
those were like the dopest things. But when we get to like when everything slows down,
Yeah.
for me, it's like very uninteresting.
Yeah.
Like even on my second rewatch of like Riz like going through therapy. Actually, I liked more of like um her kind of journey through this, what like her journey experience, how she's kind of dealing with removing the implant, how she's dealing with it. Everyone's going through it differently, which
Yeah.
was a nice touch. Um, but there are moments where like it feels like they're giving us like too many like subplots and threads.
Okay.
Like we're worrying about Soren's journey. We're introduced to Ackerson, who actually feels like who's more of the villain of this.
He is to be
He's
more of a
he's
villain.
the real villain of the arc of the story so far. And we're kind of like we're juggling between a lot of different characters, and I'm thinking, I'm like, y'all ain't have to bring certain people into the mix. Actually, though,
Yeah.
like honestly, I didn't need the Quan story. I didn't need Quan coming back. Um, as much as I did like the interaction between Soren and Halsey reuniting, I just I don't know, going off world, going back to the pirates. I was mad when Soren got caught up. I was like, y'all gonna
Yeah.
do my man like this? You gonna do the black pirate like this? And I'm like, come on. And
Yeah,
then
I can't believe he let Ed Sheeran lead him off like that. I mean,
how you do this? He's supposed to be the best of the best. So that was a little that moment was frustrating, but just I wasn't really like vibing with where they were his particular story and his family was kind of like, why are we doing
yeah.
this? Master Chief's kind of relationship with Cortana was strange. Like him going into the red light district was like, bro, like this
And
is
even in the very
odd.
beginning, if you notice in the very beginning when they have him on the
He
surgery
was
table,
crying, by the way.
yeah, a tear comes out his eye when they talk about in order to save him, we got to separate them. And
So
he,
it is, and that's another thing. We're like focusing on John's humanity and him not being crazy, not being seen as crazy, and having follow his gut and instinct, his intuition more so, and then him struggling with feeling detached from Cortana. It's like a lot.
it is a
Once again,
lot.
a lot being juggled, and I was like, it's. I feel like this would have made more sense if they, like I said, if they just. I would have been enjoyed the experience. That experience had they like really focused on that and stuck with that, then introducing, like I said, introducing Quan back in, and then
Yeah,
trying to tie in Soren. It's like you need to spend time with your characters and like really get invested, and also just make the scenes really good.
yeah.
Um, so that was just making a difficult watch. Like it got really slow, but then when we got to like episode 4, when the Covenant showed up and blowing up Perez's house. Um, also them also remember they go through. They were hide. Didn't they hide out somewhere and they went into like a old
Hilarious.
antique
Yeah,
shop and saw the
the antique
Xbox?
shop.
How was that part was funny.
Yeah,
But when you text me that one, I was like, "Yo,
yeah,
the
when
Xbox,
they're in the antique shop and the lady in there is like, I'm not leaving this stuff, and Perez is trying to get her
you need
to
to
like,
go."
this stuff is worthless. Let's just. And she was like, "This has seen this war, this has seen that war, survived all that. It's going to survive this too." And she's not really understanding or getting it, but I guess from her perspective, it had cleared all of those things. So in her mind, this is just one experience in a long line of experiences that are going to end up the same, not knowing that we about to glass this place and ain't none of this, and you included, going to be.
Not gonna matter.
Yeah,
And that was another thing that this. If we talk about the themes within the show, it was annoying. Like even in the beginning with the shaman woman, this sense of entitlement to land.
yeah.
Like y'all aren't even on. Y'all not even from this galaxy,
You know
and
what I
y'all
kind
like
of
we
equated
gotta
to though?
stay here. I'm like,
Yeah, I equate it to
y'all deserve
people
better.
that refuse to leave their homes when an imminent natural
Yes,
disaster is coming. Like
and
you
I'm
can see the
like,
twister hitting the ground,
it's
approaching your
coming down.
house, and you like, Pawpaw, we gotta go. And he like, I ain't going nowhere.
I'm
This
like,
is home. It's like, bro, this ain't gonna
like,
be nothing here. And
yeah,
so yeah, that was weird. I'm not weird, but that was kind of relatable seeing that parallel to what happens in real life when people just refuse to move off of land that's going to be destroyed or heavily disrupted. Yeah, it was cool that the Easter eggs when they started panning around. Yeah, I spotted that and paused it and saw the OG
I'm
Xbox
glad you
sitting on.
called it out because I missed it. I was like, oh, I didn't see that one. Thank you for calling it out.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
But
Yeah, she's not gonna go nowhere, and they fighting their way through the city. Some of those scenes were cool.
yeah, that
Seeing him,
all those scenes were cool.
seeing him in the marketplace, without his
Oh,
armor,
fighting.
go fighting head up with the
Yeah,
elite.
that was nice.
Yeah, he
That
was
was nice.
sling. Like I said, those Halo moments that they give us are good. I'm still team keep the helmet on.
See,
And to but
after
to your
I
point,
might have switched though. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I feel like this. What if this could have been better had he kept his helmet on? Actually,
what I'm saying is because what you were illustrating, how many other characters we have around him. We have enough people to take the helmets off, see the emoting, and see them all react to everything that's going on and
mm,
leave Master Chief the way he's supposed to be.
mm,
And we can still get that connection. Even just have him act physically, have his shoulders slump when something sad happens or whatever,
hey,
to
Pedro
convey that.
Pascal did it. There's no reason
Yeah.
why my man's and it's funny how I think I flip flop from season one to season two because I'm looking at how like the stories they're telling
Yeah.
and like there's an alternate way of how they could have done this had they left the helmet on they would have simplified the storyline much.
Yeah.
Actually it would have they could have simplified a lot of things.
Yeah.
um
I'm still writing that story, by the way.
okay. Write it
Yeah, I'm gonna write that
um
story.
write it and because yeah I'm like this is what we're doing, this is what we're with, this is what we stuck with now, like come on man. But episode 4 was a nice highlight. They did tug on my heartstrings by killing the two black, killing Key. Is it Admiral? Is he Admiral Keys or
Yeah, Admiral
Commander?
Keys.
Admiral
Yeah, I
Keys
think
and
Admiral Keys.
Vanek. They got me. That was that was an emotional ending to an episode, and it was
Yeah, that was
action
kind of that
packed.
was kind of disappointing, and it was also a plus simultaneously because something of import actually happened.
Exactly. I was like,
How
all
many
right.
shows we watch were like, in the end, it's like, oh, nobody died,
Like,
nothing really happened.
boo.
We just reversed it, and then you're
When-
like, well, and you're left feeling like, well, what did we go through all this for? If
yeah,
nothing
basically.
actually changed by the time you got to the end, or yeah. So I got to give them kudos for having the guts to do that with some of the characters. I just would have rather than chose other characters to do that
He
to.
was like, y'all could have killed Kai.
I mean, technically 3. When you look, you got Blind Lewis out there. Here's another
Well,
brother they just
they could have
eliminated.
killed Kai.
Yeah.
They could have killed
Yes.
Perez. And then also, there's another storyline. It feels why does this is at this point a trope, but why does Master Chief always have to rescue or save a damsel? In a way, Perez is a kind of a damsel, um, and she also feels like a character that we didn't need,
Mm.
because I kind of look at her. I don't know. I kind of see her character as like the everyman, like the normal person,
She is
in
one of the
in
normal
relation
people.
to in relation to Master Chief. But it's like, why do y'all keep like she exists? I guess she exists for the sake of the plot. That she needs. She's a I won't say a foil, but she is the person that kind of like was a witness to what Master Chief saw and doesn't make Master Chief look crazy. But
I think she's a reflective mirror that takes the opposite tact as Master Chief does emotionally. She feels survivor's guilt like deeply, where
yeah.
Master
And
Chief,
that was well done. That was
yeah,
well executed. I think when we get to the emotional scenes,
yeah,
like how they're dealing with their PTSD and like from the initial episode, those things are done realistically.
yeah,
But once again, juggling too many characters.
yeah.
Um, it was a it's this the first 4 episodes were just were kind of a it was a good, but it was yeah I feel like you it's kind of half and half. Like
It's
it's
a
like
mixed
there's a
bag.
lot
Yeah,
of good and also a lot of bad. I'm like this is 50-50 at this point. So
we should just
just getting ready for the last. It was 8 episodes total, correct?
yeah, a
And
total.
the next 4.
I'm thinking with this type of show and shows like it based on video game properties should be more balls to the wall action, less on the because I think you're trying to do too much. Like you said, it's kind of trying to do too much with the property and make it too much like other things when it's not. That's not what it's based on.
Mm-hmm.
So like we get a few cut scenes in the video game, but a majority of our time with a controller or whatever, or mouse and keyboard in your hand, is shooting up stuff and blowing stuff up and going from A to B. And then they give
Yeah,
you respite in the middle with the cutscenes to give you story and lore. But then once that cutscene's over with, you right back into the action.
yeah.
And I guess because of the medium difference, with it being a TV show, they're trying to give us more show.
Yeah, more backstory,
Yeah,
nuance, and it's like,
backstory, more
and
lore.
it's true. It's like, how many episodes could we watch? I have to probably go back to what I said the first season. Like, how many times could we watch Master Chief for 8 hours, um, fighting the same? We could, but just fighting, doing the same kind of things. How they up the ante if it's just straight action versus like had they done this as a film, like a nice 2 hour film, because we have so many like military films, military
Yeah,
action films that are dope because very realistic. They get into, they have, they'll introduce you to some characters. Somebody may die. We have
yeah.
a reason to go, fight against another enemy force. And it's very simple. We understand that dynamic. And the funny part is, why couldn't we just do that?
Here's an idea.
Chief. He said, here's an idea. Go, Rod, go.
Cut 3 episodes. I'm serious.
Make it a mini set. Make it
For,
basically.
for time wise, cut 3 episodes. Have it mostly action with a smattering of the lore and stuff, but you basically just commercial break to catch your breath before you get to ass whooping again, and then it's over. And then
I would have literally be. I would be actually, that structure works with me. You have like a good three, maybe two episodes. You got 2 straight episodes. What are 2 straight episodes of action? One episode to slow it down. Go right back.
I'm gonna bite off of Star Wars. Give us a screen crawl.
Somebody give me the screen call. Run that
screen crawl so we can understand what's going on. Here's what's happening. Here's why we're doing what we're doing, and action.
Go.
Half hour for 2.5, 3 episodes straight. Do it again. 2 more episodes.
Keep going.
You think that would cut some of the budget if you've eliminated some of the episodes? Then you could pump more quality into the 5 episodes we get instead of 8 episodes, and we feel like we've got 2-3 hours worth of filler mixed in amongst that.
We just rewrote the Halo series. We're gonna start off every episode. All it has to be is a shot. If we wanna elevate it from Star Wars, we just have a shot of different planets throughout the Halo universe. We have screen crawl, screen roll.
Even if you don't have screen crawl, we don't have the if we have like a cool, like a best, like the best voice actor ever. Do what you just said with different planets being focused, and as each planet is shown, he gives a brief description of what's going on and why and what they're at.
This was happening in the world, and then we jump in. You see, look, let's just take all this energy, we put it into our own stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, put it into our own stuff. No, we're making something genius now.
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll make it happen. Well, man, I appreciate you taking your time to chop it up with me about these things. We'll be back next Monday. Hopefully, Andre will be able to join us, and we're going to ask her thoughts on the first half before we dive into the second half of the season and the finale and all that. That'll be next week, Monday. But that's it for this week.
Peace.
Appreciate you.